for class action. My name is Jim Murphree. I'm glad you're here with me tonight. I teach at Whittier Middle School, and my special guest this evening is Elanor Barnes. Elanor is a foreign language teacher at Norman High School, and the foreign language Elanor teaches is German, and I'm very happy to have you with me.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here, too.
I always start off the show by asking some biographical information, a little background about you, Elanor. Tell us where you're from and what you've done with your life and that sort of thing.
Okay. I was born in New Jersey, in Princeton, New Jersey, and I grew up there, went to school there through high school. And then I went off to college, to a small girls' college on the coast of New Jersey called Georgian Court College. After that, I took a master's degree from Middlebury College, and at that time, I went to Europe for the first time. I had studied history in college. I was a history major, and I had planned to be a history teacher. But things changed when there weren't any jobs in history when I graduated. And so I applied for a Fulbright fellowship, and I was lucky enough to get one, went to Germany, and I stayed there for a year in Mainz, that's on the Rhine, and studied German and decided maybe that I should change fields and become a language teacher. When I completed my year of study, I liked it so much in Germany, I decided that I would like to stay longer. And I was looking around for possibilities of either working in Germany or continuing study, something that would support me because I didn't really have that much money. And that happened to be 1961, and you probably remember what happened in 1961. The wall went up in Berlin. And in the spring of 61, there were already problems in Berlin, and the politics looked shaky. People were not sure, and they had the situation that many students were returning to the United States. And I thought, well, this might be an opportunity to stay in Germany since the competition would not be so great for job possibilities. And indeed, that was so. I received a job in Berlin teaching English. It was my very first job. And I arrived in Berlin on the 9th of August, 1961. And then on the 12th, they started the preparations for building the wall. Of course, at that time, we did not know what was happening. We just saw they were moving cement and bricks and things in, and barbed wire was coming in, large rolls of it, so we knew that something was going on. Perhaps fortify the wall, we thought, the border, fortify it, but that was not it. They closed it. And so that was a very historic moment, and it's wonderful to be interviewed right now because this is, of course, the time, many, many years later, when maybe we're talking about taking that wall back down again. And just watching the television every day and reading the newspaper, you hear so much about the changes that are going on in the East Bloc, in the Soviet Union. And we don't hear much about East Germany, but there are also many changes going on there. And perhaps we are within sight of having a complete change in the Germany as we have known it now for the last 30, 40 years.
And how compelling it would be, I suppose, for you personally, having been there at the time when the wall went up, that someday that it might be that the wall might come down again.
Yes.
Yes. Wouldn't that be special for you to be there for that?
Oh, very much, because it is such an artificial arrangement. Mm-hmm. Of course, everyone knows the stories about the families that have been split up, and you cannot travel. But still in all, both sides are German. Mm-hmm. They speak the same language. They have the same traditions. They drink the same wines. They have the same foods. And to suddenly have this arbitrary line of demarcation to separate them is so unnatural. So that I really wish and hope for the day that would change completely. And of course, it's difficult to think in terms of what would replace it because one worries that we know what it is now. However, if this situation changes politically, we don't know what the future would hold, and would that maybe create a situation that wouldn't be as satisfactory as what we have now. But I do not believe any of that. I am very hopeful that the Cold War will end soon and that Germany will be reunited.
And what a change on the European landscape that would make for a united Germany.
I mean, if you just think in terms right now of what is happening in Estonia and Latvia, these people trying very much to have their own language as the official language and to try to assert themselves as a nationality, and what's going on in Hungary. And of course these same feelings are there in East Germany, but East Germany is a puppet state of the Soviet Union, and they of course can't afford to say too much now, although their people are saying many things with their feet. They're leaving.
Yes. I wonder if there's a segment of people in Europe who might not desire a unified Germany, fearing a large dominant state. A reunified Germany might be too powerful and too dominant in European affairs.
Yes, that reminds me of a joke or a funny line by a Frenchman who once said, "Well, I love Germany so much that I'm happy now that there are two." And this idea. Yes, of course, it's a problem. Germany is in the heart of Europe, has more neighbors than any other country. And I think, though, that the Germans have learned very much from their history. And they're very interested in their government. They're very interested in their democracy. Whenever they have elections, a very high percentage of the registered voters turn out to vote. And they are very interested in their economic situation and their position in the European common market. And I think this is a Germany now that is definitely democratic. Of course, there are other kinds of problems that would come up with a reunification. The countries have developed in such a different kind of a way. West Germany has had the advantage of the Marshall Plan. Mm-hmm. And let us not kid ourselves. The wealth that West Germany attained in these last 30 or 40 years has its basis in the Marshall Plan. East Germany did not ever have anything like that. In fact, to the contrary, at the end of the Second World War, much of the machinery that was left, much of the usable steel beams and so on that were left were shipped off out of the country. East Germany, by West German standards, is a very poor country, and this would naturally have its repercussions in a reunification.
Yes.
It does now already. I mean, you see how we are being asked to send money to Poland, send money to the Soviet Union. These countries really have very little of the kind of material wealth that to us is very commonplace.
And yet, by Eastern European standards, East Germany would rank as the first and foremost,
yes,
the strength of its
true.
economy and its technological development.
Yes, and also its skilled workers.
Mm-hmm.
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 That is very true. And of course now, this latest hemorrhage of people leaving, it is the most skilled who are leaving.
Sure, sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, now let's move back to Norman High School and talk about what it's like to take a German class under Frau Barnes at Norman High School.
Oh, it's very exciting. I love what I do. I truly enjoy my job. I have always wanted to be a teacher since I was a small child. That's the only career goal that I had ever had, although I really did not think in terms of teaching German. I wanted to be a history teacher. But I love to teach, and this is very, very important for any teacher. You have to like the subject matter. You have to like classrooms. You have to like people. You have to like young people. You have to enjoy their company. You really have to want them to learn the thing that you are teaching. That, to me, is the only way, that you can be a good teacher. In fact, some of my trainers years ago in college, some of my education professors used to say, teaching is like marriage. Don't do it if you can't live without it. And the older I get, the more I feel this is true. You really have to love it. You have to love the smell of the chalk and the smell of the books.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
Otherwise you just it takes so much effort, and to competently and to do the kind of a job you really have to be quite devoted, or you cannot work up the kind of energy that it takes to be a real professional.
Mm-hmm. Maybe I should say a word about what happens in German class. I like to set up my elementary classes so that the students get lots and lots of experience speaking the language.
Mhm.
We do a lot of oral work, and this starts right from the first day. The first 2 or 3 weeks we talk more than we write and much more than we read. And of course, as the year wears on, the writing becomes more important, the understanding, the comprehension, but still I like them to talk a lot. If you begin a foreign language by speaking that foreign language, you immediately get over the hurdle of self-consciousness, of hearing yourself utter these foreign sounds. And as far as this particular year is concerned, I think we've already passed that. My students show very little inhibition in speaking in the classroom. They will very readily mimic me. They will very readily respond to me, respond to each other, and that's very, very important in the beginning stages. What I want out of the first year of the German course is for them to have a survival German. In other words, if they were suddenly to land at the airport in Frankfurt and they were to leave the airplane, I would like them, of course, after they sit down and absorb this moment, because you're always anxious, of course, in a foreign language, but once having gotten over that, I'd like them to be able to go and get a room to stay, get food to eat, feel comfortable in the signs that they see around them. So therefore, I use a lot of cultural material in my classes so that they feel comfortable in that culture.
Yes, that's well, that's the way it ought to be. I know there are restrictions based on money and resources, but optimum age for a student to start learning in the public schools, to start a foreign language.
Well, of course, I say this as a foreign language teacher, but also this is my own belief. The younger a person starts with a foreign language, the easier it is and the more enjoyable it is. When children are little, and I know this for a fact because here in the Norman Public School system, I did work in the before and after school program when my own daughter was little. I wanted her to learn the language, not only from me at home, that it would be a home kind of an activity, but to have this out in company of other children her age. And so a group of us started before and after school language classes. And I taught first graders, and it was so enjoyable because first graders naturally go and hug their teacher. That's part of what they will do at any time. And so when you have the language to share with them while this is happening, it is so exciting. And they have no trouble pronouncing anything because they are really not used to how you are supposed to say anything, even in their own language. They have lots and lots of possibilities to express themselves. They're open to so much that foreign language does not bother them. And you can do games and songs and all kinds of things that you cannot do so easily with older students. So the younger, the better. And with a first grader, teaching a foreign language becomes a play activity. It is not so much a academic course that you are teaching.
Sure. Now, I would think enrolling in German is, at the high school, an elective.
That's correct.
So I would think that that most of the students that do enroll in German have some kind of background already in German or some previous interest in learning German, and so it has the effect. I wouldn't think that all that many kids come up to you and say, well, Frau Barnes, why do we have to study German? Why do we have to do that? Because they've already enrolled in the class on their own, and so they probably already have some previous interest.
Yeah, that's a luxury we have right now, since the state of Oklahoma does not mandate foreign language instruction. A foreign language teacher is not like a mathematics teacher or an English teacher, where the students want to know, why am I forced to do this? So you're right, yes, the students come to me and they want to take German. Many of them have parents who are in the military and perhaps were born in Germany. Some of them have grandparents who emigrated to the United States. Some of them have parents who travel, and so as children already they went to Germany and they enjoyed it. They'd like to know more about it. Some of them have career goals. For example, they want to use German later on in something else that they want to do. Maybe they want to work in Europe. Germany is a very easy place to get a job, by the way. Many of the colleges, OU included, has programs for university students to work in the summer in Germany. And students have their eye on this and would like to be part of that.
Sure. All right. Now, I know you've done some work this summer, some of the continuing education that you do as a teacher of German, and tell us about that.
Okay. I'm always looking around for interesting ways to enrich myself during the summer, either through study or travel. And now there are many programs open to us. The one I participated in was from the National Endowment for the Humanities. It was an institute for German teachers. And so 25 German teachers from all over the United States were selected to go to Pennsylvania and spend 4 weeks at a small college called New Wilmington, the College of New Wilmington. And we were about an hour north of Pittsburgh. And we spent our days studying, reading literature, learning techniques and strategies for teaching. The theme of our whole conference, of our whole study tour, was the individual and society. So the first part of the Institute took place in New Wilmington, and the last part, the last 10 days, took place in Berlin. A wonderful place to study this topic of the individual and society, especially as one stands in front of the wall and sees how different a few feet can make. On this side of the wall, what is an individual, and on the other side, what is an individual. It was really a fascinating summer. I met very, very interesting teachers from all the states in the Union. They try, of course, to get a geographical balance. So there were people from the Northeast and from the West and the Southwest and the North. And most of us were accomplished teachers. In other words, they took some young teachers, perhaps only with 2 or 3 years experience, but there were not many of them. They wanted to have people who were very fluent in the language, who were very committed to their teaching, and who had very good, strong programs going. That was part of the selection process. So as a result, we pooled lots of information, lots of techniques and strategies for the classroom to make each other's teaching more interesting. It was wonderful.
It sounds like it. Well, knowing you, I would think that this is something that you do on a fairly regular basis. Studying during the summer, perhaps going to other parts of the country, even making trips abroad to improve your teaching ability and your background.
Yes, I go to Germany as often as I can. I think it's very important for any foreign language teacher to keep contact with that country and with those people. This leads me to the idea again of why study German. Foreign language teachers of their nature have to be very global people. They have to be very open to other cultures, and this is, of course, what we're trying to do with our students. We're trying to give them an understanding of other people and how they do things, give them an understanding of people as relative to each other. In other words, there is not one right way to do things. We have the American way, that's true, and we believe in that, and we support it and we subscribe to it. However, there are other ways to do things, and we can learn lots from being in other cultures, learning the language of other cultures, and just seeing how other people treat daily problems that we also treat.
Sure. All right, now, teaching in Norman, you have the advantage of the university close by, and I know you have a personal connection with the university and the German department, but I'm wondering if a German teacher in Norman, what advantages would they have being in Norman and having the university so nearby as opposed to a German teacher in another community where that is not available?
Oh, we have one marvelous advantage, and that is the International Club at the university. They bring students every year to the United States. And we have many students from West Germany, mainly from West Germany, and they, of course, can come and visit in our classes and talk to our students. Also, our students are free to attend meetings of the International Club at the university so that they get lots of exposure to many cultures, not only German. Of course, I am interested in their exposure to the German culture, but that is one of the great pluses of living in Norman. Yeah, the the globality of our community, very openness of it. Mm-hmm.
Well, and I would suppose that actually would be open to student in any community. It's just so much more convenient in Norman.
Yes, because you don't have to travel. You have it all right next door.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the German club, there's a German club at the high school?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Our German club is a social club, as are the other foreign language clubs on the campus. And we try to have activities that our students would enjoy so they can get to know each other. For example, just last week we had the first foreign language picnic of the year, the annual foreign language picnic of the year, in which we bring together all of the students in the foreign language programs. And of course the clubs support this and help make it happen. And then we do the kinds of giving and sharing things that are so important for high school students to engage in. For example, at Thanksgiving, we try to support a family. At Christmas, we try to support a family. We occasionally go to the senior citizens' homes here in Norman and work with those people. We also, of course, support the school activities. For example, homecoming is big for us. We try to have a float every year. Last year we even won a prize, which is wonderful. That brings a little extra money into the treasury.
Well, it sounds like it's quite an active club.
Yes, all of our foreign language clubs are.
Yes. I would think that your family might be a prime candidate for a foreign exchange host family. Is that a correct assumption?
Well, our family was never very large. We had one daughter, and she is no longer with us. She's off at college, and my husband and I both work, and we're both very busy people.
Yes.
So when you have a student, you really need to spend time with those people. But I facilitate that kind of a thing. Very often my students come to me and they say, how can one do this? How do you get on the list to have someone live in your home that speaks German or French or whatever? And then from the other side too, when we have exchange students here, we work with those students and try to make them more comfortable at the high school and in the community, and also with the international students at the university.
I see. Well, do you know when you're going to get a chance to go back
to Germany? Well, the way it looks now in the East Bloc, I hope as soon as possible. I would like very much to spend some time in East Germany. I have never done that because there are so many restrictions on travel. It is difficult to get visas. It costs money. They have a compulsory daily exchange. If you spend time in East Germany, you have to pay. It's a surcharge. You have to pay for every day you are there. And of course, they will give you their money in exchange for what you pay. However, they really don't have so many products that you would want to buy. You'd say, well, you, as a teacher, you would want to buy books. Yes, that is true. But in a planned economy, as East Germany has, there aren't that many on the shelves, and most often what you would like to buy is not available for you to buy. But yes, in this kind of a climate, I would like very much to spend some time in East Germany. And I'm looking around now for programs which support teachers for summer study and travel in East Germany. I know the American Association of Teachers of German is interested in working with teachers and taking them to East Germany so we can spend some time there. You know, I know a lot about the cities, about the geography, and about the economy and the people and the traditions and the culture of West Germany, but I do not know that much about East Germany. And when my students ask me, I'm always at a loss. I mean, I know what I read in books, but I cannot say, well, yes, I have been in Leipzig and I have been in Dresden, and this is how it is, because I haven't. And I really feel that as a need. In fact, at the beginning of this year, I did something that I haven't done before. I took the whole back wall of my classroom and I divided it in half. And the left side of it is West Germany and the right side of it is East Germany. And I have maps up with lots of pictures surrounding those maps and little pointers going towards the places on the map where they are. And as I was putting that up during our work week, West Germany was wonderful. I mean, that's like home to me. When I did it with East Germany, I had to look once more. What was the name of that city, and where is that located? Because I really don't know so well.
Well, sure.
So,
you haven't had the chance?
yes, I really do need to go and travel there.
Well, when you go, will you take me with you? No, I hope so. Well, Elanor, our time's up. I sure want to thank you for coming, and you've enlightened us quite a bit about Germany and learning German at Norman High School, and it must be a wonderful class.
Yes, I enjoy it, and I think the kids do too. Thanks for having me.
Sure. And thank you for being with us tonight on Class Action. I'll see you next week.